This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Today we'll start with block and inline elements. Okay, do any of you have any doubts in the topics we discussed yesterday? Okay, fine. We can let's say proceed with this block and inline elements. Okay, now you have learned lot of HTML tags like heading tags, paragraph tags, okay, unordered list, horizontal ruler, etc. Some of them are let's say classified as block elements, and some of them are classified as inline elements. So what I mean by block level elements, your paragraph, heading tags, list, and they are called as block elements. Your anchor tag, hyperlink tag, bold images, they are called as inline elements. So what do you mean by inline element? Now when I say an element is inline, let's say you're displaying it on a web page and you display the next element, so it will go and sit next to that current element, right? Those are called as inline element. Now when I add one anchor tag, and then let's say when I add another anchor tag, both of them will be displayed on the same line. So that is why they are called as inline elements. Now when I say block elements will occupy the entire width of the container. Now when I display a paragraph, so it will occupy the entire width of the web page. So unless I specifically say the width, by default it will occupy the entire web page. Okay. Fine. So when you say, let's say you're displaying 3 paragraphs one by one in a web page. So when you display the first paragraph, the block level elements will always begin with a new line. Okay, so the moment you give the paragraph tag, it will skip to the new line and then it will display that paragraph throughout the width of the web page. Now when you give the second paragraph tag, first it will come to the new line and then display the contents. Whereas when you take this inline elements, okay, after displaying an element, it will not give the and go to the next line. The adjacent elements will be displayed in the same line next to that. That is why they are called as inline elements. Okay, now the important, let's say, inline and the block level element we'll be discussing will be div and then the span. Okay, now when I say block element, it breaks the flow in the sense the moment you give a block level element, it will skip to the next line and then it will start the display. Whereas the inline element will go with the flow and in the same, let's say, line, the other elements will be displayed. Okay, fine. Let us see an example for the inline and the block elements. Okay. Now we'll be learning a new tag today called as span. Span is an inline element, right? The span as such doesn't make any changes to your text block. So when you want to apply a style to a span, you have to style it in the CSS. Okay, fine. Now the span is an inline element. Like when I give 10 span tags, they'll be displayed adjacent in the same, let's say, next to each other. Till, let's say, when there is no space left in that particular line, then only it will jump to the next line. So now here I have given 4 span tags. Okay, so span, I'm giving a text and then I'm giving, let's say, just to prove that the following tags will be displayed in the same line, I have given a non-breaking space after the first span. So I display this one. See, I have given 3 spaces. When I give the next span tag, okay, the content of the next span is displayed in the same line. Likewise, I've used 4 span tags, right? You see, all of them are placed in the same line next to each other. So once I just to space them out, I've given this non-breaking space. And then you can use the span to specify a style. Let's say I've given the border for the pan and then the padding and the font size. And another use of the span tag is that, let's say when you're displaying a paragraph, to highlight one particular word, you want to specify a new style. So what you can do is you can give a span over there, okay, and then you can style the span. So the word inside the span, the style you're giving for the span will be applied only for the text you have enclosed within that span, right? So span is an inline element. So when you're designing the actual web pages for the website, we'll be frequently using this span tag and the div tag. Okay, so remember, span as such does not have any style of its own. You have to specify the style in your style sheet. Clear? Right now. Similarly, your anchor hyperlink tag is an inline tag. Okay, I'll show you why it is inline. First, you let's say finish writing this. So the main difference between an inline element and the block element is that you cannot give the CSS width and height attributes for an inline element, but you can give the width and height for a block element. For example, span, I cannot give the width and height. For paragraph, I can give the width and height because paragraph is a block element. Okay, we'll go to the next topic. Okay, what I told you is, let's say we'll create hyperlink here. Now what I'll do is I'll create an anchor tag. hyperlink reference. Okay, so here I have I'm working in this folder CSS. So here I have let's say this image.html. I create a link to this image.html. Now when you open this in the browser, okay, so here I have a hyperlink. When I click, it will take me to image.html. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll create one more link. Okay, now I'll create a link to this inline style page. Okay, what I'll do is okay, fine. Now you're able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Now what I'll do is I'll to make things simple, I'll just change the name of the file to inline.html, right? Okay. Now I'll create one more link here, hyperlink here. Inline.html. Now just have a look at how these hyperlink tags are placed. Now I double click, I open this page in the browser. You see, since hyperlink is an inline element, the two hyperlinks are placed next to each other. So if I want to space it out, I can give a non-breaking space. Right? I've spaced it out. So let's say why these two hyperlinks are displayed on the same line, one next to each other, because this hyperlink is an inline element. Suppose I display a paragraph. Now, for example, let's say, okay, using a paragraph tag, now I say this is paragraph 1. Where this will be placed automatically the moment I give the paragraph tag, it will jump to the next line, right? Because paragraph is the block level element. When I give another paragraph, okay, paragraph tag, you see, this is paragraph 1. Okay, I'll give another paragraph. Now automatically the second paragraph will be displayed in a new line. Clear? So have you understood the difference between inline and block? Everyone? Yes or no? Okay, fine. So write down. So the inline elements will occupy only the space which they need, which they really require. Whereas a block element will occupy the entire width of the the web page or the container where they are placed. Okay, fine. Write down. Finished? Okay, I'll go to the next topic. So div paragraph, the heading tags from H1 to H6, ordered and unordered list are block level elements. The span, bold, and the formatting tags, image tag, hyperlink tags are inline level elements. Okay, fine. So now when we come to the div tag, div and span, you can group different HTML elements within a div or within a, let's say, the span. So div is called as a division tag. So what I mean by a division, when you have a web page, let's say generally, let's say what generally a web page will contain. A web page will contain a heading. Okay, in the header. So in the header, what will be present? The logo of the company. Let's say you're designing a website for a company. In the header, what will you put? The logo of the company, right? And then that if they have any tagline, you'll put it on that, the name of the company, and maybe the main hyperlinks will go into the header. And in the, let's say, body of the web page, you will give, let's say, this about us. Okay, then how to contact us, about the company's philosophy, etc. And in the footer, maybe you may give the contact address, the telephone number of the company. So basically, when you design a web page, you divide the space in the web page into different divisions, because first we call them as header division, where we'll give the logo of the company and then the name of the company. Okay, and if necessary, the top level hyperlinks like contact us, okay, our products and services will go into the header. Then in the body of the web page, let's say in the home page, you describe in the about us, what about the company, when it was established, and what is the philosophy, and what services they provide in brief. Okay, an overview about the company. And in the footer, if you add a footer, you can, let's say, give the email address of the company, or let's say the main branch address, etc. So for dividing that into different elements, we use the div tag. So a div tag is basically a container. So when I say container, when I say a container, it can contain any of the HTML tag. So when I add a div, within that I can place a paragraph, I can place a heading, I can place a hyperlink, I can place any of my HTML tag. Let's say I can place a ordered list into that div. So then the advantage of using the div is that, suppose let's say when you want to apply a particular style to a particular section in a web page. Let's say for the header of the web page, I want to give a particular background color, let's say gray color. And for the body of the page, I want to give a light blue. For the footer, again, I want to give the gray color. So you can't give it with each and every element, because when I say paragraph, the paragraph tag may appear in the header as well as in the body. So you have to write multiple classes, which will complicate your design. So what you do is, in the header, you put a div for the header. So for the div, you describe the style. Let's say this is the width of the page, this is the background color. So all the property will be applied to every element within the div, right? So remember, div stands for division. Now when you say span, so what do you mean? Div and span, both of them are similar in the sense that they don't, let's say, explicitly have any particular style or display, and both of them can contain, okay, any of the HTML tags. Okay, so span is basically an inline element, div is a block level element. So I can have a span tag. Within the span tag, I can have, let's say, what? Bold, italic, everything. Or within a paragraph, I can give a span tag to apply a style to a particular word or sentence, right? Okay. So div will, let's say, will occupy the entire width. Span will occupy only the space it requires. Okay, and div and span tags are called as content wrappers because they can contain any number of tags within them. Okay, fine. Now let us see some examples for div and span. So as I told you before, I can nest the span element within other element. So it can be used as a container, or it can also be used with other elements. Okay, contained within other elements. Now here I am displaying a heading. Okay, for this particular phrase, green color, I want the background color to be green. So what I can do is, I can give a span tag. For the span, I can specify the style. So the background light green will be applied only to the span tag, not to the entire heading. Clear? Right out. So remember, div and span are container tags. Just if you give span tag and close it, nothing will be displayed within that. So you need to style it within the style sheet. Okay, over. We'll go to the next topic. Now let us see how the divs work. Okay, now here you see I am giving, let's say, this div. So when I'm displaying the text within the div tag. And for the div, I have given this particular style. I've given a border, a margin, and a padding. So you look at the first two div elements in the web page. That's the default style I've given for the div is applied this to. So I've given a border. You see, the text occupies, let's say, just one, a small portion of the web page. But the style I've given for the, let's say, div, that is the border is displayed throughout the width of the web page, because div is a block level element. It will occupy the entire width of the container. Now here, what is the container right now? The div tag is contained within the body tag, so it will occupy the entire width of the web page, since it is a block level element. And the important difference between a block level element and an inline level element is that for block level element, I can give the width and height property. For example, I can say for this div, it should be displayed in a particular, with let's say 200 pixel wide, 100 pixel length, height, and so on. But for inline element, you cannot give the width and height. That is the major difference between an inline element and the block level element, right? And for the third div, I've given the dimension. Width I've given as 200, height as 200. And I will specify, I've given this in a class, and I apply this class selector. So you see the third div, it is displayed in this block. Within the dimensions I've given, the width 200 pixel and height 200 pixel. Clear? Right now. So same this I cannot define for a span, the dimension, since it is an inline element. Right now. Okay. We'll go to the next topic. Okay, so for div, you can, as I told you before, you can specify a common style for all the elements contained within the div tag. Okay, and then individually also you can define the style. Now, when you consider the first div, okay, I have a h1 tag and I have a paragraph tag. Right now, what I've given is, let's say, and that time displaying it in the light blue color, the first div, and for the second div I'm given the background of yellow color. Right, so once I give a style for a particular div, like background color, border, right, that will be applied for all the elements contained within the div. So let's say in a web page you have two different divisions. Let's say you have two different, okay, articles in a blog. Right, for one particular article you want to give a particular background color, and for the other, let's article, you want to give a different background color. So what you can do is, you can let's say have two different styles, and you can apply it for the div instead of applying it for the individual element. So I don't have to give the background color for h1 or p, since it is contained within div. Okay, I can let's say give it in the div itself. And similarly for the second div, I've given applying the background color yellow using the class 2. So the paragraph within this div is displayed with a yellow colored background. Right, so you can group any html tag, because a div can contain, okay, h1 paragraph tag, it can contain a list, okay, it can contain a table, it can contain any element you can think of. The moment you group it within a div, the common style you're given for the div will be applied to all the elements. Clear? Okay, right down. Let's scroll down. Over. Okay. Now there is an important property called as float property. We'll be using with frequently with div. Now suppose, let's say, when you're designing a web page, you want to, let's say, divide it into a header. Okay, where you have or want to have all the header elements, like, let's say, top level hyperlinks, logo, and then company name, etc. And then I want the main body content to be divided into two sections. One, let's say, with a sidebar containing all the hyperlinks, and then the main content of the web page. Okay, now I can use the float property to specify that this sidebar, okay, this portion is aligned to the, okay, the left of the web page, left margin of the web page. When I say float right, it will be aligned to the right margin of the web page. So these concepts we'll be using, putting it into practice when we start designing the web pages. That is, we'll be starting with these design concepts, that the laying out the web page in the next week. So at that time, we'll be using this float property very frequently. Now just understand that, let's say you are displaying an image. Okay, when you say float left, the image will be aligned to the left margin of the web page. When I say float right, it will be aligned to the right margin, right? Okay. Now here I have displayed 3 div tags. Okay. Now when you look at the content, so div id I have given as box, and within this div I have displayed 2 different divs. Okay. For the main div I have given this styling with the 600 pixels. So the div occupies 600 pixels in the web page. Okay. Fine. And for the second one, I've given the background. First div, I've given the background color is blue, and then the, let's say, background color green, and then let's say I have commented the float, the left and the float right properties. Now you see how it looks, right? So this is the first, let's say, div id is equal to box. That means the first one is displayed. The width is 600, background color is blue, right? So it is displayed here, and the second one is contained within this div. Div id is equal to 1. So this style is applied. I've given the width as 300, height as 300. Okay, and then in the next one, this is being displayed. Okay, so have you understood this much? Okay, now we'll uncomment this float properties and see how the page appears. Now I uncomment this float for the other 2 divs. Now here you see, right? So here, let's say, look at, let's say, the properties carefully. The box, the main div, the width is 600%. Okay, the other div, the width is 300, and width is, for this also, width is 300. So the within the area of 600 pixels, the 2 divs will be displayed. Right now here I have given the float as left, so it is occupying the left side of the container. Since I've given the float as right, it is occupying the right side of the container. Now what I'll do is, for the main div. Okay, I'll just give a border. Okay, so now are you able to see? So this is the where your main div starts. Okay, so the here I've given. Then when you say div id is equal to 1, so this box is being placed. Which one? The green colored box is displayed in the to the left of the first div, and the second one, the red colored box, is placed to the right. Clear? So this is your main div. You're not able to see this background color blue. Okay, the first box. Why? Because the total width is 600. So out of the 600, this occupies 300 and this occupies 300. So you're not able to see the background color of the main div. Is these things clear to you people? Please respond. Have you people understood this, or if you have any doubts? Hello.
Understood, ma'am.
Can I explain it once again? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, okay, for example, let's say you consider this. Let's say you have a sheet of paper. Okay. Now, assume that you have a sheet of, okay, I'll write it out here. A sheet of paper of length 100 centimeter. Okay, it is, let's say, blue in color. So the length of the sheet, let's say the paper is 100 centimeter, right? You keep that sheet on the table. Okay, so now first you're keeping only one sheet. So the whole paper, okay, with the length of 100 centimeter will be visible to you, right? Yes or no? Okay, then on top of this, I place a red colored sheet of paper of length 50 centimeter. Okay, in the left corner. Now you tell me how it will appear. First, in, let's say in a table, let's say laid out a blue colored paper, a sheet of paper. The length is 100 centimeter. Then what I do is I take a red colored paper. The length is 50 centimeter. I display it in the left corner of this. Now what will you see? Tell me.
You will first see the red colored sheet, the actual size of the
Yes.
red colored sheet, and half of the
Yes.
blue colored sheet below it.
Yes. Yes, because in the left corner I have placed a red colored sheet. Now you will say, let's say the left corner, you will see the red colored sheet. It is only 50 centimeter. That is, it is occupying only 50% of this. So 50% of the red colored sheet you'll see in the beginning, and then followed by 50 centimeter blue colored sheet. Right? Have you understood this? Okay. Next, what I do is I place a green colored sheet of paper of length 50 centimeter in the right corner. What you will see now, tell me. What you'll see now is, the first I placed a blue colored sheet of paper. It is 100 centimeter. On top of that, in the left corner, I'll place the red colored sheet of length 50 centimeter. In the right side, I placed a green colored sheet of paper 50 centimeter. Now what you will see, tell me. What you'll see
Ma'am,
now.
the same thing as before, but now there is a green colored sheet to the right of the red colored sheet.
Yes, you won't be able to see the blue colored sheet at all, right? Because it has been covered, let's say, partly by the red colored sheet in the left and partly by the green colored sheet in the right? You won't see the blue color at all. You'll see only red color and next to that green color. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, that is what I have done with this DIV. Now, first I lay out, let's say, let's this box, blue color box with 600. Okay, so then what? That is what I've laid out in the beginning. Then on top of this, I put this DIV 1, which is a green colored box, 300. So this is going to occupy the first half of this blue colored box. And the second one, the red colored, let's say the sheet is going to occupy the second half. So what do you see? You don't see the blue color at all. Clear now? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Right now. Okay, you note down this explanation also. Over. We'll go to the next topic. Let's say you want to display a text, okay, within, let's say, the div. You want to give a background color, okay, width and height, okay, the text color, margin, everything. You can specify all this properties. No, so this should be green only. So when you have a dark colored background, okay, your text color should be in white. Now the background color is dark green, right? So if the text color is black, you won't be able to read it comfortably. But if the text is of the light color, with, let's say, white color, it will be easier for you to read the contents. So this is a general convention followed in the web page. Let's say if the background color of a block is navy blue or dark green or red, the text will be displayed in white. Then it will be easier for you to read the content. Clear? So when your background color is light, you can leave the text color as black. Okay, the black color text in a light color background will be clearer. So if the background color is dark, your text color should be white. Over. Okay, now assume that, let's say you're designing a news website, let's say, or a blog, and you want to place 3 paragraphs of text one next to each other. So you know the paragraph is a what type of element, inline or block? paragraph is a block level element, right? So if you give 3 paragraph tags, the paragraphs will be stacked one below the other. Now I don't want it in that way. I want all the 3 paragraphs to appear one next to the another. Okay, so for that we'll be using this div and the float property. Okay, so what I here basically what I'm doing is, let's say I am okay, have 3 different divs. Okay, and within each div I have the paragraph heading and the paragraph left, middle, right, and then I define the background color for this for the div as well as the color for the text. Okay, so if you look at the style sheet, for the div I've given the padding, text color, okay, background color I've given for the div. Okay, the width of the div I've given 28%. So here when you look at the spacing in the web page, I want 3 different columns to be displayed, right? So roughly when you divide the total space, each column cannot occupy a maximum of more than 33%. So at the most you can make it, minimum can be 28%, maximum should be 32 or 33%, not more than that, right? So let's say the total space is 600 divided by 3, so roughly it comes to 28%, and border I've given, and for I have written other anonymous classes. Then I've given the float as left, background color blue. I'm applying the individual background color for the paragraph, right? So okay, class is equal to left div, okay, middle div and the right div. Now when I say float left, what exactly does this float left means? Okay, the float left says display this block, okay, along with the left margin, not the right margin. So I display the first column of text. I've given the float at left. Then here, since I've given the width as 28%, the 28% it goes and sits in the first column, and I'm displaying the next column in let's say normally you could go below this, the middle side will go below this left side, but since I've given float left, so I have this first paragraph, now it means display it to the, let's say float it to the left margin, left side margin, so it will go and sit next to this, right? And I display one more paragraph. So what happens is, since I've given this float as left, so and I've given all these 3 divs, I'm able to create this 3 column text. Clear? So first look at the CSS and understand. So here I've given div. So the style I've given with the div is applicable to all the 3 div. So remember, I have 3 different paragraphs contained within 3 div tags. So the property I've given for the div is applied to these 3. And individually, when I want to give the background color, I've defined it in a separate class, floating as left background color. So here when I say div class is equal to left div, okay, the property I've given with left div will be applied. What I've given, float left background color blue. So the first paragraph appears with the background color as blue, second one green, and then black. Clear? Okay, so first look at the style sheet and understand. Okay, once you understand all the classes, then you will be able to easily understand how you get this 3 column, right? Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. and write all the style sheets as it is, and then even this paragraph content, it's enough if you, let's say, write this one or the first sentence. Okay, no need to copy everything because it will take a lot of time, right? Scroll down now. Okay, we'll go to the next topic. Okay, now let's say I want to display an image, right? And next to the image, I want to display some description. I want to text to flow around the image. Okay, normally, right, without, let's say, styling. When you try giving the image tag and then the paragraph without the div, what it will do is first it will display the image, and below this image the text will be displayed. Now I want the image and the text to be displayed one next to the other. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to give, let's say, this div, and within the div, okay, you give the float as left. So, and within the div I place just the image. Then when I say the paragraph, it will, since I have given float left, it will be placed next to the image, right? So when you're trying this, you try it without giving the float property and see how the text and the image are displayed. Okay. Okay. So we have, let's say, discussed in detail about div, right? You tell me, let's say, what are the uses of the div tag? Tell me, what is the purpose of using the div tag? In what way div tag helps you? Tell me. Yes. For the 1 hour we have discussed about DAV, right? For more than 1 hour. Tell me what you have understood about it. Anyone? The first use is to apply a particular style to a bunch of elements. Yes or no? Right? You display a style for div, it is applied to all the elements contained within the div. Then to divide a web page into different sections. Then what? To display column wise text. Right? Fine. Next we'll come to borders. So using this float property and div, and I can create different divisions. Okay, the header section, footer section, the main content, and the sidebar with hyperlinks. Okay, fine. Then we'll come to the CSS borders. So till now you would have we have learned the basics of borders. So let's say you have a content, right? Let's say you have a paragraph of text. You can give the padding. Padding gives you, let's say, the inner space to separate it from the border, and then the border, and then first comes the margin. So on all the four sides, you can give the first, the margin will take the precedence, then comes the border, then padding, then content, right? Okay. Now there are different, CSS provides you nearly 8 different types of borders. Okay, the dotted border, okay, the dashed border, solid border we have seen already, double border with a double line, groove, okay, like this, okay, the 3D border, ridge, inset, and then the outset. Okay. And you can also define the corner roundness for the border. So instead of a normal rectangle, you can have a rounded rectangle as the border. That is the corner radius for all the four corners. When you say 60 pixels for all the four sides, you will get a rounded rectangle border instead of the normal border. Now when you give the radius as 50%, it will be converted into a circle itself, the border. Okay, so we'll look at the border now. So let's say you have this is a dotted border, dashed border, solid, groove, etc. By looking at this, you can easily understand the difference. And let's say how I'm displaying it here is using the div. I've just defined two different columns. Okay, and you see each and every let's say paragraph, you have two different borders placed. So how I've done this? Div display grid template column 50%. That is, I have divided the web page into 50%, two columns. So when I let's say give this paragraph and I give the style, okay, so this goes and first one goes and sits in the first column, second one go, let's say, in the next column, then the third paragraph element comes to the next row, and so on, right? So this is how I'm able to place the borders side by side. Clear? Right. So dotted, none means the border will not be displayed at all. And then hidden, when you say hidden, the border, and there will be a difference between none and hidden. Okay, we look at it when we start designing the pages. Right. So we have the dotted border, dashed, then solid, double, etc. Over. Okay, when you're specifying a color for the border, till now we have seen just one way. That is, we have used the shorthand property border. I've given 2 pixel dotted red. That means for all the 4 sides, the red color will be applied. Now, basically, for the border width and the color, you have something called as a, one value, two value syntax, 3 and 4 value. Now, when you say one value syntax, that is the same color is applied to all the 4 sides. So when you say two values, let's say, what do you mean by the two values? Is the two value syntax. So border style solid, border color given a this okay, this one middle, first one red color. The red color is applied to all the 4 corners. Now when I give 2 colors, this is the 2 color syntax. Border style, border color, I've given 2 colors. Okay, now what will happen is if I give 2 colors, for the top, the first color will be taken for the top and bottom. The next will be taken for the left and right corners. When you give specify 3 different colors, okay, so the first color will be taken for the top one, and the other 3 for, let's say, for the other last color will be taken for the left and right, and the final one will be taken for the bottom. Now when you give the 4 color syntax, all the 4 color, so for the color will be applied for all the 4 borders, right? So you can give the same color to all the 4 borders, or for the top and the bottom you can give a color, left and the right you can give another color, or you can give, let's say, left and right you can give a color, top and bottom a different color, or for all the 4 corners you can give a different color, right? And this called as a, you can give one value for the color, 2, 3 or 4, depending on how you want to color your borders. Clear? And color, you can give the color name or the hexadecimal code. You can get the hexadecimal code from the what color HTML color picker. I showed you right in the last class in the Google. You can go to the type color picker in the Google. From that you can take the hexadecimal color code. You can select the color you like and then you can copy the code, right? Okay, I'll go to the next topic. Similar to the color, for the border width also you have the one value syntax, two value, 3 and 4. Okay, so if you give just one value, the same value will be taken for all the 4 sides. Then let's say you can give the 2 value, one for the top and bottom and another one for the left and right, 3 values and then the 4. Similar to the color, you can also specify a different thickness for every side of the border. Fine. So with this, we'll wind up today's class.